Well, I'm here today with Dr. Eby again. We're asking some questions about preaching, how to help preachers. This is one I wish I could say I didn't live into at times.
Okay.
Throughout my pastoral ministry. So you've preached to a small crowd yesterday. It's Monday morning. You preached to a small crowd. How can we frame the importance of our call regardless of the size of our congregation?
Well, I can give the right answers, the theologically true answers.
Yeah.
I don't know if they are extraordinarily comforting answers.
Fair.
You know, it wasn't always Monday morning for me. It was
Sunday afternoon.
It was Sunday afternoon. It was an hour to 2 hours after the service. And you know what? Here, you premised it on, you had a smaller service. You know what I would say? I don't think it's dependent on how big the crowd of the church was.
That's fair.
I think if you are a church that runs 1,000, you want to reach 1,200.
Sure.
And if you're a church of 50, you want to have 60, and if it's normally 50 and you had 47, it feels like it's hard. I see, and here's maybe the other reason I'm having some conflict in answering this question is because I don't know that I ever answered that for myself. Right now, again,
well, maybe that's an important part of the conversation. I think recognizing that all of us feel that way.
I think everybody
helpful.
does.
I think it's helpful.
And here's what I did do. I got to the point to be able to say to myself, your feelings in this moment are lying to you.
Yeah.
Or if not lying to you, my feelings in this moment are not the defining reality of my call.
Good.
That I knew from the drive home, probably through the rest of Sunday.
Sure. Yeah.
I was going to think of every person who wasn't in church.
Sure.
I was going to think about everything that was not exactly the way I wanted it to be in my sermon.
Yeah.
What I wanted to say, but I forgot to say. Or I would think about, I thought that would have brought a response to the altar and maybe they didn't, or not enough did, or, but I knew there were a lot of very practical realities why I was feeling that. Well, and not just practical realities, but brokenness in my own life why I was feeling that way.
Sure.
Like I want to be affirmed. I want to be successful by different metrics. And I was wrestling with my own brokenness as much as I was reality of the struggles of ministry.
And also sometimes just sheer physical exhaustion.
Well, and you do. I don't know how it is for everybody else, but preaching is a rush, man.
Yeah,
it's an exhausting rush.
That's true. There's a high followed by a low,
and there's a somewhat of a crash, and so number one for me, how do I cope with it? I have to tell myself the way I'm feeling right now does not define my calling. And there are factors that are true and factors that are just not true that are all contributing to why I feel the way I feel right now. Now, let's also inject some theology into it, right? The measure of our calling is not the crowd.
That's right.
Now, we say that all the time.
And we never believe
None of us believe that. We
certainly
should
not in
believe
those low
it.
moments. We, of course, should believe and
because it's true.
And I'm asking this question because, honestly, not only should we believe it, we also need to hear it.
And we need to tell it to ourselves and try to believe it. We need to speak truth to ourselves that the Lord is calling me to be faithful.
That's right.
Let's go to Paul's words to dealing with a conflict in Corinth. But even if it's not a conflict situation, the truth remains. Some plant, other water, but God gives the increase. And we need to understand sometimes we're there for the harvest, and sometimes we're planting seed, and we don't even get to see it watered and sprout. We're just planting seed.
Right.
And we have to take the big kingdom view, that it's not about, And this is the problem. We want affirmation, we want approval, we want acceptance. We also want significance. We want to be successful. And yet we don't have the proper, we can't have the sufficient time frame to evaluate effectiveness. And we need to speak truth. Maybe, and here's the other thing I'd say you can do to this. Find people that get it. So I'm talking about other ministers.
Yeah.
Find people who really get it, that you can, that you're not going to wear them out, but you can be honest. And they're going to remind you when you need to hear it.
Yeah.
It's about obedience to the call, not about, outward measure. And here's the thing. I will go back
because
to
I think it cuts both ways.
It does.
It's not just the guy who looks like he's killing it down the road, because it is a move of the Spirit. We believe that as Pentecostals, right? He shouldn't give himself credit always for the growth, nor than we can do things that create problems. But I think of John 3, the Spirit moves where the Spirit moves.
Yeah. And we have to acknowledge that. Yeah. And we understand times and seasons, right?
Right.
Sometimes there's seasons of planting, and sometimes there's seasons of water, sometimes there's seasons of harvest. We have to accept that. Yeah. And I will tell you, there is this underlying struggle, and I don't know if it's new, if it's always been there, or I'm just more attuned to it. Our struggle with narcissism in ministry right now is real.
Yeah, that's true.
And when we... And that struggle is not just for, you don't have to have a big church. It's easy to point out and go, oh, that guy's a narcissist. Look, he's always putting videos of himself up. He's always liking his posts. He's always branding his material. Okay, yep, could be a problem. But you don't have to have a big platform to equally be obsessed with yourself.
That's true.
And sometimes when we are obsessed with, even in my own life, I have to admit, my low moment obsessions with myself can be very self-absorbed, narcissistic obsessions with myself. And so narcissism and self-obsession is not dependent
on size of congregation.
On the size of congregation.
Size of ministry. That's absolutely true.
Or even the individual success of a particular Sunday. I've gone home on, by all measurements, great Sundays and felt like a loser.
Yeah, for sure.
For unknown reasons, except for my own brokenness. So we need people who we trust, who can speak loving truth with us, and that we provoke each other to good works.
Yeah, so I think that's a great takeaway from this, right? Pastor, first of all, you're doing fine. You're normal. God has called you, be faithful. Secondly, develop some relationships where you can be honest and you can also listen as people are. Find somebody you can cry on each other's shoulders at times.
And to that end, once the cameras go off, I've got some things I need to tell you.
I can hardly wait.